Yo, if you got 5 minutes, I need your opinion on something.
Yeah, that's cool. Go on.
All right, Mal. Me and Trey were just talking about our personal leadership journeys, and we're wondering if we could ask you a few questions about your journey.
Yeah, like what lessons have you learned on the way, and any advice you'd have for us?
It's interesting because it's been quite a long journey. Even really me identifying myself as a leader, it's not an easy journey to be in. So for me, I've always wanted to inspire others, work with others, collaborate, and I've always loved doing that through community activity or initiative. So whether that's been like me setting up my first recording studio and inviting friends round, and then producing for local emerging artists, or putting albums together, putting it on vinyl, releasing it, promoting shows with other people, giving them a platform to perform. I've always done it because it needed to get done in terms of providing opportunity for other people. And it wasn't until I started developing more of my music career where I found myself wanting to push things forward and just getting on with it and doing it. And I felt myself falling into leadership roles. And then a lot of people would give me feedback and wanting to be working with me and like to be part of a team because I was driven and I was doing a lot of things, not only in the community, but externally and with other people. And I feel people really resonated with that. And really, I suppose, wanted to kind of join the vision that I had and what I wanted to create. And I feel like that has really helped me as a leader, is really being clear on what my purpose was and what I wanted to achieve, and have a really clear vision. I think once you have that, people will naturally gravitate towards that and want to support and kind of help you and build along your journey. In terms of people who help me, that's another big question, because I feel like there's been quite a few inspirational people in my journey. I've had some negative, actually, influential people that have had a negative impact, but it's helped drive me in terms of building my resilience. But in terms of positive inspiration, I can remember one of my dad's best friends, David Walker. And I can't remember him that well. And he probably passed away when I was around maybe 9, 10 or 11. But what he was doing in Gloucester, I've never seen before, where he was putting on like high-scaled, high-quality events in Gloucester Park where thousands of people would go. I've never seen, it was the first time I ever seen kind of like a big stage with big credible national acts performing. And he made me actually realize it doesn't matter where you're from, whether it's a small city, if there's not much around you, you can still create something from nothing. And that was a big inspiration for me at that time, because it really made me raise my aspirations and actually have ambition to achieve kind of like anything I wanted to do. And then there's been other inspirational people in my life, my mum and my dad. Obviously, I'm a creative at heart and I love music, and that's always driven me, and that's just come from my parents as well. I've had other inspirations where there was a guy called Lawrence Ash, and he might even not ever hear this and he might even not know this, but he was also an inspiration for me, because when I went to a recording studio called 11A, when I first started to create and make music, it was the first time where I ever stepped into a space where I didn't think that I would be accepted for the music that I was making in that space, because I made a lot of grime music. They were into a lot of dub and rock indie music, but the way he welcomed me with open arms and encouraged me to do anything I wanted to do, in terms of like, he followed my lead in terms of making the music I wanted to do, which was grime music at the time. I was bringing my friends in there, and I learned so much of my early stage career developments in terms of producing music and engineering at that time. So yeah, I would say that those are some big inspirations for me as well growing up.
Wow, man. Thank you for that detailed answer. But it's sprung a lot of questions in my head. And another one is like, what are some barriers or challenges you faced during your journey?
There has been many. I could probably name many. I can remember one of my biggest ones, which also how I sprung back from that really shaped me as a leader, I think, was when I raised enough money to buy my first recording studio. And I was able to rent out a small community space in a youth centre down the road, which used to be Kowa Youth Centre, also the same youth centre that I used to go as a young boy. I set up a recording studio, and I probably only invited a small cohort of friends and people that I knew in the first 2 weeks. Within those first 2 weeks, the studio got robbed. All my equipment, all my equipment was missing because the computer got robbed as well. I lost all my music, and that would have like been probably 3 years worth of work. I was young at the time. I was probably around 20, early 20s. And I did a lot of saving to be able to open that studio. And it's, the first time as well that I had a studio outside my own home. Or, well, at the time, in my mum's house. There's the first time I had a studio outside of my mum's house. How I bounced back from that, I needed a lot of resilience, because that could have been a turning point whether I continued doing music or not. And I can remember after being upset for like a week or two, literally just went back into work, saved up, pivoted, and set up another studio within the next 6 months in another place. And just been more, the lessons I learned from that though were around, actually, one, foolish mistake, I never got the equipment insured. Number two, the security on the building wasn't great. And there was probably other things that I probably wasn't aware of, and I ran into just setting something up because I was so excited to do it, but I didn't really think through all the kind of like processes that I should have done initially, which I learned from the next time. So it did help me along my journey. And then I suppose other challenges and barriers as well, and everyone faces this, the imposter syndrome. I think being born and raised in Gloucester, it is a city of low aspiration. And many of time you probably get told you can't do something or you can't achieve this. And especially in school, I knew from young I wanted to do music, but I didn't know what that looked like for me, because music in school was completely different to music outside of school for me. So I can remember one time my career advisor said to me that I said, I want to be a musician, I want to do music. And they said, well, you're not a musician, you don't play music. You have to think of getting a real job. And from she said that, I was adamant that I was going to do something in music. So I can remember it was probably when I turned 16, I said to my nan had a catalogue. I can't remember what the catalogue was. And I sent a computer in there and I was like, Nan, can I get this computer out of the catalogue? I'll pay you weekly. Can I please get it? I want to start making music. And she said, yes, I could get it. And then I can remember what software I bought was something like Music 2000 or something like that. I can remember the early music software where you could start doing DIY music, making music at home. And I bought a computer, started making music. And from that day when I was 16 to now, I've never stopped creating music. And I think one of those biggest barriers was just actually kind of like being in a city where there's high deprivation and there's not much aspiration, because you have to see yourself through that. And then also working in a sector where you don't see much diversity. I know when I started to get into leadership roles, I started walking in rooms which I didn't see myself represented, and trying to navigate that, where sometimes people don't maybe have the same perception of you, have the same lived experience as you. So sometimes your opinions or your perspective might not be aligned with others, but it's definitely valid. And I think, but saying all that, I feel like all the those challenges, adversities that I've faced in my life, I've been so grateful for, because it's made me who I am today. I think we talk about resilience a lot, and I think resilience is important because I think if you are also maybe from an underrepresented group or from a minoritized community, or you're just underrepresented in somewhere and you're walking in spaces where there's not much diversity, you need a lot of resilience to navigate those pathways. And I think the challenges that I faced when I was young, in school again, and growing up as a young black boy, I feel like has really helped me navigate just life as well, professionally and personally.
Quality, thank you. And as a leader, although you may or may not see yourself as one, what's the best part of the job, like the role that you have, that you reckon?
I love these interesting questions. Do you know what? Collaboration. And whether you see that as a leadership skill or not, for me, I learned that very recently. Like before, I used to look at leaders as being direct, driven, dominant, fierce, like how you would look at a kind of corporate leader or something. But actually, I really lent into my personality and my traits around like collaboration. And as a leader, I love to collaborate. Also, I love to listen. I think that's really important, like collaboration and listening and working with others, because actually those leadership skills enables you to grow as a person because you're learning from others as well. You're supporting others and empowering others to also give them opportunities. And I think that's what I love being a leader, to see other people grow, to see other people in positions of power, giving other people voice who also don't get voice. And I think the ability to do that as a leader is very important, where you can make change and you can break down barriers for others to thrive as well.
That's amazing, man. It must be incredible to have been part of such a impact on other people's lives, but at the same time, it makes you question what keeps you motivated if you lose motivation.
Making change keeps me motivated, to be honest. Like how small or how big that is. So from giving an opportunity to a young person and just seeing you're able to take them out of a negative environment into a positive environment and giving them an opportunity, maybe you're giving them access to something as small as that, right through to the festivals I've programmed and seeing 2,000 young people attend from Gloucester who's never been to a festival before. When I look at the impact and the change that I've helped enable, that's what keeps me motivated. And also what keeps me motivated when I come back to my community and also looking where I've come from and looking what I've achieved. Some of the things that I've achieved is like the first, like some members of my community had never seen that. Like I also love to make my mum proud. When my mum sees me as maybe kind of like one of the first black CEOs in the cultural sector in Gloucestershire, that fills her with joy. If I look at my grandparents, who come over here in the Windrush generation, they come over with nothing and they come over here to survive. Like that's motivation to me of how we are moving the needle and pushing the needle for our community to make change and to make impact in society. So yeah, that always keeps me motivated. So looking at history and seeing how far we've come as well.
Quality, that sounds like a good driving force for the motivation levels for sure. Also wondering, what advice, if any, would you give to your younger self or to a younger person looking to become a leader or someone as like a pillar of the community?
So I would say, definitely to myself, I'd say, take your time, don't rush. Things will come in good time and it will come at the right time. And also have self-belief. And I say this to all young people as well, really believe in yourself. If no one believes in you, take time to believe in yourself, because I feel like it's important that sometimes we don't have people who tell us enough how great we are or how great we can be. So have belief in yourself and also think big, be ambitious. You can achieve what you think you can achieve. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Don't let anyone tell you down or take dreams away from you. And take risk and take more risk. And the reason why I say that sometimes is because you can easily be put off by being uncertain whether you can achieve something and failure. But failure is just one step away from success. So continue to take risk. And the last thing I would say then to add to that as well is just be curious. Don't be frightened of the unknown. Step into the unknown, because that's how you'll grow as a person as well. Be curious in understanding things you're not aware of or you don't understand.
Yes. Good. Just wanted to say thank you for those answers, man.
It was a good interview.
Yeah. I just want to say appreciation and gratitude for facilitating the answers about your journey, but then also where your journey's led us. It's had a big impact on my life. Being able to, have the space to go through my own creative process and find out what my challenges and barriers are, and just build the network, because I feel like I've met loads of my closest friends at that hub, and without you going on your journey, I would have been able to meet those people. And yeah, man, it's had a huge impact on my life.